Hi. Hello.
Hola.
Hopefully we don't have issues. I guess Comcast is having some issues or something. Hello? How are you guys? Welcome. Are you back home, Max?
Yes, I am.
Or just a new backdrop? Hello? I always forget how many people we have. So 12, 13 with me. Did you guys do your check-in forms this morning? No? You can take a minute to do that now if you want. I have this weird little back scratcher. It's pretty nice. Okay. A few more people. I like the horses.
Yeah, Thomas is a big horse guy.
Oh yeah, such a real big horse guy.
We need two more people. Cameron and Luke. I don't know that Luke might be here.
Mr. Stella, can we take this week off and hit it hard next week?
Sorry.
I agree with Tom. Let's do that.
You're really gonna hit it hard next week?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Somehow I doubt this. You're about to get a long weekend though. 4 days. Friday and Monday off, right?
Maxwell, what are you eating?
Muffins. I'm hungry.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I had some toast with peanut butter on it and a protein bar. It's pretty good.
Good. That's good. Sounds decent. I gotta go throw this out. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Mr. Sotelo, what do you have for breakfast?
I always go to Eggs in Paradise and get their breakfast tostadas. It's got like chicken, cheese, jalapeno, tomato, onion, cilantro, and I put salsa on it.
That sounds really good.
Yeah, it's a spicy breakfast, but I think it's nutritious. It's pretty good. All right, so we're still two people down. Jared was just in my first period class, so I guess maybe he's just late. And I don't know why my computer's running very slowly right now. I probably have too many tabs open. But we can go to repl.it. You can log in. We'll do some more styling with CSS. Did you guys make it to REPL? You got your projects open? Hi.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, I got a class.
Okay. Did you have Alex come
Yeah,
on?
she came on a few
Okay.
minutes after I marked her.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay. You guys are at your projects? Are you ready to start? Even sleepy, Thomas? Okay. I will present, I guess. You guys can see my screen okay? All right. Hopefully you guys have a page with some information about yourself. We got a few pictures on. And if you remember, when I find the image tags in my code, we were able to put this style attribute in the tag and set the width of our images. And that's how we were able to resize them, was through the style attribute. And then there's information about yourself. We also, last class, came down to the bottom of our document. Now our entire document is inside of the HTML element, the root element. And we also have all of our content in the body element. We did have a head element where we put the title of our page in that little favicon. And finally, after the body, but still inside of the HTML document, we created a style element. We just have an opening style tag, a closing style tag. And inside of here is where we put a different language. Again, this was called CSS that stands for cascading style sheet. The cascading part is because you can apply multiple CSS files onto the same document, and they just sort of apply one after the other right on top of each other. So they're called cascading style sheets. I'll have to call them back. St. Mary's for some reason. I'm going to be working on their computer, so maybe that's what it is. Okay, are you guys ready then? All right, so in our CSS, we grabbed the body element by just typing body, and then inside of the curly brackets, we were able to set the background element. I set mine to black. The text color you set with color. I made mine orange. And your text dash align, I set that to center so that all my page would be centered. Is that all right with you guys? Okay, hopefully you guys can have something along those lines.
Yeah, I did the background thing wrong. I don't know what I did wrong.
You don't know? Why don't you present
Yeah.
your screen for a second, and then I can see. Lower right, there's like a present button. And it's helpful. That's a good way to learn too, is just trying to debug people's code. Okay, So one, you're not typing in between your style tags. You have the opening style tag, you have the closing style tag, and then you have stuff after that. The curly bracket stuff you can delete, and the line where you have the background tags with blue inside of it, you can delete that line too.
I think it needs to be background too.
Yeah, yeah, good. You forgot the G. But yeah, just delete line 44. And then the tail end of 43 with that white font or that white text, you can delete that stuff. Okay. Now place your cursor on line 42. And you can type body. And then you want to open a curly bracket. Did you find it? It's to the right of the P. Yeah, there you go. And now just press enter. And then you can go ahead and type background, just the word background. G, background. It's weird how your cursor is kind of messed up. And then colon. And then any color you want. You can type like red and then semicolon. Yeah, sure, blue or black, whatever. Semicolon is the end of line symbol, so you should end your lines with a semicolon. There you go. And then if you can do different lines. Color will set the font color. That should work for you. Go ahead and run it. All right, so your background's now black. You probably just want to set your color to adorable. I remember that, actually. That's kind of funny. Griffin, it's you. So go ahead and you can stop presenting now, and I can.
Mr. Sotella,
Yeah.
I'm a bit behind, and how do I make it so it like goes down a line, or it's enter or whatever?
Oh,
Like everything is just in one sentence. How do I like space it up?
okay. That was from our first class that we went.
I know.
over.
But now I'm on
You have to make things like inside of, so like in my body, I have the H1 element. So if I put that inside of an H1, that makes it look like a heading. And that automatically gets its own line. H3 gets its own line. I was using P tags to represent a paragraph. So everything, so you can have different P tags, and that would make different paragraphs.
Okay.
What you could do if you're ways behind is you can go to the classroom, the Google Classroom, go to my project that I shared. You should come here, and you will pop up like on my screen here.
Okay. Yeah, let me
And I'll help you once you get there.
Okay, found that.
You in? Yeah, I see you joined. Now, if you do anything here, you're going to edit my project. So if you would, do you see up this little arrow on my screen here? The little.
Your
can go-
screen's not showing, I don't think. Or maybe I have to click something else.
You can't see my screen?
No.
Am I not presenting? Oh, sorry. So yeah, this little drop-down menu lets you fork the project. So that'll make your own copy.
Oh.
So then you can edit it later to be about you.
Well, that helped.
Yeah. So now you're where we are at. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right. I'd like to show you guys a few more things. So if you see my project, I'm going to open it in a new page. I've got a couple pictures. I got a little fact about myself. Not a real one. Here's a little fact. Foods I like. Favorite colors. You'd fill out more of this page. We can go ahead and stylize these things. Yeah, I guess we'll do that. So foods I like and favorite colors. Let's see. That is, those are the H4 tags. So this heading we stylize, or we just use the built-in H4 to say, to sort of do the little subsection titles. So I have random fact, foods I like, favorite colors. Those are all H4 elements. So I'm going to come down to the bottom where before I had the style tag and I had grabbed the body and I set the background to black. I set the color to orange and set text line attribute to centered. So after the curly bracket, and one nice thing about REPL is like when I click right next to this curly bracket, it kind of shows me where its other bracket is. So like if I click the style tag, it highlights the other style tag. And if I go right next to the curly bracket, it shows me where the other one is. So it kind of helps you. But I'm going to come right after that curly bracket because I no longer want to affect the body. I'm going to press enter a couple times. And then I'm going to grab the H4 elements. So I'm just going to type H4, open a curly bracket, and then I can press enter. And now I can start setting attributes for the heading 4 elements. Is that good? Are you guys good with that? All right.
I'm almost there.
Okay. So for the H4 element, if you say background with a G, you can put in, let's say, gray. And if I go ahead and run that, you'll see that I've sort of affected the background of just those elements. So now you can see that they're gray on my screen. And just to point out, if you have things like the H4 element, the paragraph tag, these things not only get their own line, by default, they are edge to edge in terms of width. So they go wide. It doesn't have to be that way. You could set the width. So if I come in here after I set the background and I type width, and you can say, like 500 px for 500 pixels. And if I run that, you'll see that they're no longer, well, let me refresh it here. You'll see that they're no longer full width, but they're also not really in the middle. So I could get them into the middle by setting the margins. So if I add another attribute and I type margin, I can type 0 space auto, and that should make there be no top and bottom margin, but there would be automatic left and right margin so that it should center those things. That work? Okay. Other things that you can do is you can affect the borders. So I could say border : and the way you'd put a border on something is you could say how many pixels it is. So I could say maybe 3 pixels, and I can say solid red, just because I want you to be able to see it. That's actually probably going to be pretty ugly. But so if I come here now, I have a red border on my little headings, and it's pretty thick so that you can see it. You have other options. So instead of solid, you could say dashed, and that would make you have dashed, or dotted. And I'm not really aware of other ones. But, you can do dotted border, dashed border, or solid. That's one thing you can do. Another thing you can do, I'm going to take that off just because I don't want the red border. I just want you guys to know that you could do that. One thing you can do is border dash radius, and you can type, you can specify, so like if I said, let's say 10 pixels for border radius, that's going to kind of like shave off. It kind of makes it rounded. So it's no longer sort of rectangular looking. So if I just set 10 pixels, it would do every corner. So it would, so like, you know, it would go across the edge of the box. But then once it got to the corner, it would sort of like shave 10 pixels off, kind of circular wise. You can, if you type more than once, so let's say 10 pixels, 0 pixels. Actually, with 0, you don't need units. So like 0 feet, 0 pixels, 0 just means 0. So you actually don't need the units when you type 0. But if I do that, you'll see that it kind of does this weird thing where I guess it only gets the upper left and the bottom right then for the 10 pixels, which is not exactly what I was expecting. But if you type 4 of them, you can do each one specifically. So I could say 5 pixels, and then 0 again. I don't know. I think it goes like upper left, upper right, bottom left. I forget the order. But there I've got a 10 pixel cut here. I've only got a 5 pixel cut here. And then the other ones aren't cut at all. So you can kind of shape your little regions if you wanted. Does that make sense? Okay. I'm just showing you guys some things that you can do to style it. What was something else I wanted to show you? Oh yeah, let me show you guys how to mix colors. You can go to HTML colors, you know, do a search, and you know you can see a bunch of codes, color names. So you could get a big list of things that it should know. So I could say dark olive green, and it would make it this color. I could do dark slate gray, deep sky blue. I like that one. So here's all the named colors. But let me show you how to mix colors. These are codes. They're called hexadecimal codes. Hexadecimal just refers to the numerical base that you're counting in. So, you know, we're used to decimal, base 10. We have 10 symbols, 10 characters, 0 through 9. And, you know, you start with 0, go to 1, 2, 3. Then you get up to 7, 8, 9. To get to 10, there's no symbol above 9. So I use place value. So the 9 becomes a 0, and then I have a 1 to the side of that. So 1, 0 represents 10, because I only have 10 digits, and 0 is one of them. So to get to something above 9, I need to use place value. Hexadecimal is base 16. So you count up to 0 through 15, and then to get to 16 in hexadecimal, you would write 10. 10 in hexadecimal means 16 in our base. After 9, how do you write 10? You write A. 11 is B, 12 is C, 13 is D, 14 is E, and 15 is the biggest one. That's F. So F would be 15, 1, 0 would be 16. But it's not something that you have to think about too much. Just know that you can go from 0 up to F. So so I'm going to type background again. And now I don't know why it's white. Did I spell that? Anyway, so I have background set as gray because thought I heard something. Because this background comes after that one, this one will win. So it's whichever the last instruction you give it will win out, and it goes, you know, left to right, top to bottom. So this one will overtake the gray. But what I'm going to do is to represent that I'm using hexadecimal. I'm going to put a hashtag, like a pound sign, and I'm going to put, like, if I do 0, 0, 0, that's no color, that's black. So if I go ahead and run that, now my background for those headings is black. But the first digit here represents red. So if I did F00, that's full red and no green and no blue. So if I run that, it should be, you know, full red. I could also do 0F0, and that'd be green. I could do 00F, whoops, and that'd be full blue. You don't have to capitalize, I don't think, so. There you got full blue. Those are highly saturated colors, so they're very eye-searing. Like, you don't want to use a lot of highly saturated colors. The way that you can well, I'll get to that in a second, I guess. In order to get other colors, you can mix them. So green and blue kind of make an aqua. If you do red and blue, you should get like a pinkish purple type color. If you do red and green, you should get yellow. So you can mix your colors to get different colors. But with this hexadecimal code, you're able to fine tune it quite a bit. So here's yellow, and it's very saturated. But if you mix two colors, you'll get a new color. But if you start putting a third one, it just grays out your color. So it desaturates it. So if this yellow is like way too saturated, if I make this like a 5, that'll be a little less saturated. So it's not quite as bad on the eye. I could come up to 7, and it's even less saturated. So that's kind of what you'd want to do. You don't have to go all the way up to F. You could have a darker yellow. So I could say 773, and that would be a darker yellow, kind of brownish, and a little bit desaturated. So you can always mix, or you could just go to a search and do color picker. And this is what a lot of people do. So here you have a built-in tool. You can pick your color. They give you the hexadecimal code. So you can just put this into your site once you choose your color. What I was just showing you had 3 values. So I had one number represented red, one number represented green, and one number represented blue, RGB. This is kind of like that, but it's a little bit more detailed. So they have 2 numbers representing red, 2 numbers representing green, and 2 numbers representing blue. Either way works. So you can either do this with 3 numbers or 6, depending on how fine-tuned you want to make your color. But so you can use a tool like that. There's also there's like themes. Like you can pick whole color themes. I don't know if this is what I'm looking for. Get away from me. No, this is not what I wanted. But here's some themes that you can get. Let me see, color theme. I know Adobe has one. Coolers is one, I guess. These allow you to, was this where I was at? So like if you wanted to find a theme for your website, you can do that here. You can put in a picture and get the theme that kind of matches that picture. Normally it's just, I guess, explore the web app. They kind of changed their website. So yeah, you should get like a color wheel or something like that. So many pop-ups. Here's your main color. So you can move around what your main color is. And these are analogous colors that are sort of near it. If I pull them, you know, you can kind of make sure they're sort of made to be equidistant. You can desaturate or saturate. You could switch to triad. So those are, you know, a third of the wheel apart. So you could find colors like that, you know, whatever you want. So to try to find a color theme for your website, let's say like, oh, what color should I make this or what color should I make that? You can get color themes. Like you can find themes that are, you know, like 3 analogous colors, you know, whatever. Those tools are always there for you too. All right, I'd like to show you guys beyond those colors, some stuff you can do. So right now I have this index file, and that's my main web page. I'm going to come up to where it has this little add a file, and if I click that, I don't know. You could have a whole separate page for, you know, Christmas.html. So let's say you have your page and maybe you have information about yourself. At the bottom of it, so if I go back to my index page and I go down to the very last part of my body, which was a picture of the Nyan cat, before the end of the body, I could say, see what I did over break. So I could have those words, right? But I could also make that a link. So maybe what I did over break, I'm going to put a little anchor tag there. So I'm going to do the little pointy bracket A. And around that, I'm going to put the /A. So I've just sandwiched what I did over break with an anchor tag. That would make it a link. And then I could come into the A here, and I could type href as an attribute. And then whatever I put in the quotes, which in this case will output Christmas.html, it would then link to that page because it's in my same project folder. So if I run that, and then I see what I did over break, and here, Maxwell, this is how you, do you see how my thing doesn't have a good enough line break here? I'm going to go ahead and right here type BR for break and press enter, and it makes it a tag, and that should give me a line break. There you go. Maybe I'll do 2 of them. There, I got a little extra space. See what I did over the break. If I click that, it'll take me to this new page, Christmas.html. I don't have anything on that page yet, but you can have, this will make a multi-page website for you if you wanted to. So I could have a whole, you could have a whole other page here. And you can click from, you can jump between those pages through links. So if you remember when we started this, we just started making this file from scratch. I told you to delete everything. You don't have to start from scratch all the time. If I just type HTML and press enter, that's not what I was expecting to happen. Let me see, HTML. What does this do? Yeah, that one with the 5. That makes a whole new page. This is a little bit more proper than how we started ours. HTML documents are supposed to have this little thing at the top that tells you that it's HTML. It's not really necessary, but to be proper, they're supposed to have that. And then you have an HTML element that wraps everything. There's a head element. There's a title. They don't have a favicon. They do have a body. And so you could start fleshing out a second page. Like,
Sorry, how did you do this?
I made a new file.
Mm-hmm.
Did you follow that?
Yeah, I did that.
And I just said something.html. And then when you come in here, if you just type HTML and you hit the 5 one, I don't know what the 5 stands for, but you get this sort of pre-made outline for the site. And then all your content can go into the body. Hello. So if I go down to that page, it just says hello.
How did you make a file?
What's that?
How did you like make another like thing?
I just went to this little add file, and then it makes it, and I can just type, my pets.html, and then you have another. I'd avoid spaces, but that's how you can do that. So you can make a separate page, and then maybe put what you did over break there. You can, with the ... you can upload pictures. So even if you don't have them on the internet, you could upload a picture from your computer, and then it would be here. So that's one thing you could add.
I clicked HTML, and then I did the I did the colon with the 5,
Yeah,
and it didn't come up for some reason.
it didn't give you all this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too.
Really? I don't know. It didn't do that?
No.
Maybe delete it and try it again, see if it works.
Yeah.
Did it or not? Problems?
It's still not working for me.
Almost there.
Well, it's not a lot. Like, you don't really need this stuff here. I mean, really all you need is you can just type HTML and just have an HTML tag. You need that. You need a body section where all your content will go. And if you want, you can have a head section where you can put other things. So, I mean, really that's kind of all you need. In the head section, you could type title and give your page a title. Or you can just go to your index file and start copying things. Like if I want this whole head section, I can come here and put it there. And then Ryan's Christmas break, and then it would still have the same logo, a different title. I don't need 2 head sections, I guess. One thing, just a little side note, if I select a bunch of lines of text and I press tab, it indents them, and shift tab will unindent. So you can kind of do that if you ever need to, like if you're copying and pasting.
I have a question because like me and him can't get it. Could you possibly just send that in the classroom?
Yeah.
And then we can just copy it?
Yeah. Oops. There you go. So yeah, just copy this and paste it in. All right, I'm going to go back to the index page and go over some more styling things that you guys can do. So if I scroll down to the bottom here where I'm in that style tag, I'm going to run this again. Now you see that my H4 elements have this really ugly color. I don't actually want that color, so I'm going to take it out. And I don't really need the border radius. Everything else should be fine. Oh, I do have that gray. Do I want that? Yeah, I'll take that out. So whatever, I just went back to how it was. One thing that you can do is you can change your font. So I can say font-family. And by default, it's serif. This is how you spell serif. Serif means feet. And it's just those little, like if you look at the F, how it's got like little feet hanging off of it. That's what serifs are. You could say sans-serif, and then that means without feet. And if you run it, you can see that my headings are now a sans serif font. They don't have those little decorations. If I put that in the body section, it would do my whole page. It would get rid of all the feet. So usually on the internet, sans serif is the standard for digital displays, whereas in text and books and paper and stuff, serif is more common. Did that work for you guys? Okay, I'm going to show you guys also, go ahead and do this too. We're going to open up a new tab, and you can go to fonts.google.com, and you can find different fonts. I know, like if I search, Laura is the font that Newman uses in its logo, its name. We've also been using Roboto quite a bit, and Roboto condensed. But you can find different fonts. Rometto, that's what I used for Math Club. So this was the font that I used there. You could even type that. Well, that's not what I meant for it to say. Let me go back. Oh, you can type it here. Then if I just got the symbol for clubs, the how do I get there? It is. It's kind of difficult to get at. I'm gonna put that there. That's how it doesn't even have the font. That's how I did that. But you can find, I didn't mean to click that font. You can find any sort of font here. You can type whatever you want, and then all the fonts can say that. And you can find the font that you like the best. You could have something that looked like handwriting. There's font categories. You can do just sans serif fonts, or you can just do serif fonts. Display fonts are kind of like fancy, they're not really designed for paragraphs and text, but for headings like our H4 heading, it might be okay. So maybe something like this, Yan Sung. So I'm going to click that one. And in order to use this, how do I use this? I guess I have to say, I don't think I have to do download. Select this style. Yeah. So it lets me select it. I could paste this into my HTML file, which maybe that's what I'll do. Otherwise, you can do the @import thing, and this can go inside of style tags. So if I just copy what's inside of the style tags, because I already have a style tag, I'm just going to copy that, and then I'm going to go over to my website, and I'm inside of this style tag at the top. I'm just going to paste that there, so it'll import the font, and then in the H4, I can say font-family, Yeon Sung. I don't know if that'll work. Let's see. Yeah, kind of did. You can kind of see that the font is there. I'm going to make those a little bigger. size 30 point. Now they're big, and I can tell.
From some reason the font family for me isn't working. I don't know.
The sans serif or what?
Yeah, I've been putting the font family. I've been trying different like fonts, and it's not working.
So you have to select the font that you want to use.
Hmm.
Then I'd probably go to this at import. And you don't need the style tags because you already have a style tag. But if you just get that at import and all that stuff in the middle, copy that.
Hmm.
And then that should go inside of your style tags. So I've got my style tags and I just pasted that right here. And then, what's that?
Thank you.
Yeah. So that will import the font, but it's not going to use it until you specify that it should be used. So for my heading 4, I have to say font dash family colon and then the name of the font. And it was able to use it then. Does that make sense? You guys all get a font? So when you style your page, you can find a font just to make your page kind of, set it apart from other people's. That's how you get a custom font. Google's got a lot of decent fonts. So I'd recommend those. So let me show you something else. So here, my favorite colors. That's an H4 tag. Here it is. And then I have an ordered list, and that numbers them. So I have 1, 2, 3, my list items. Let's say I want to make that like its own little region of the page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this whole region, all this stuff. I'm going to put it inside of, this is a generic division. It's just like this generic element. It's called div. So if I do div, so I'm going to do pointy bracket. And then after my ordered list, I'm going to do the slash div. So I've wrapped all this stuff inside of a div element. Because it's now inside, I'm going to indent those lines so that I see that they're inside. You can collapse that. So at the side, if I hit that little minus, it kind of collapses it and it makes just dot, dot, dot. So that's a feature that you have. But I've just made this into its own little section. If I run that, you probably won't see any difference. So that doesn't look like it's changed. But now I can sort of put a border around this. I could make it its own color. So let me show you. I mean, I could style the div just like how I styled all my H4s. But if you don't want to style all your H4s or you don't want to style all your divs, you can give them specific names. So this div down here, I'm going to call this colors. So I'm going to come into the opening div, the opening tag, and hit space. And then I'm going to type ID equals. And then in quotes, I'm just going to call it colors. So I've given it kind of like its own unique name. IDs should be unique. Nothing else should share that ID. So you can go ahead and try, do this too. I just wrapped something with div. And so I grabbed a little section. And then I want to give it a name. I've given it the name colors because this is the section for my favorite colors. And I did that with an ID. Are you guys good with that? Okay. I'm going to scroll down, and in my style section, after my H4, where I styled all that stuff with inside of those curly brackets, I'm going to make a new section. The way you grab something by its ID is to use the hashtag symbol. So hashtag colors, and that'll grab it. And I can give it its own background, like ivory. And if I run that, you should see that it has its own background. I could set its width to something. So I'll do that. And once again, I think it's probably squished it like it did before. Yeah, see, it's off to the left now. So I'd have to do margin 0 auto or whatever I want to do with it. I could position it elsewhere. And that would center it. So you can create little sections, little regions of your page that are styled differently than other regions. Was that okay for you guys? Okay. Let me show you a couple of other things that you can do. So instead of doing that margin 0 auto, I'm going to change, well, one thing you can do with code is you can say display none. So that means the thing will not display. So if I refresh this, it's gone. So you can sort of toggle things on and off that way. You could instead say opacity 0. Opacity is how much you can see it. If I do it this way, it's just not there. But the space it takes up is still there. If I did opacity as 0.5 or 0.4, that's fine. Then I should get like 40% visible. Well, I got rid of that margin 0 auto, but it's sort of see-through. Those are different things that you can do. You can also affect their position. So by default, position is relative, which is how it is normally. But you can set it to be absolute. So this will now have a position that's fixed on the screen. So it looks like it's sitting there, but I could say, because now it has an absolute position, I could say top 0 and left 0. And that would, what those do is it puts it up in this upper left-hand corner. The top attribute tells you how far from the top you are, and the left attribute tells you how far from the left you are. So if I set this both to 0, it throws this right in the corner. And that's stuck on the page there now. So if I scroll down, it sort of goes out of my sight. You could also, instead of say absolute, you could say fixed. So if the position is fixed, you're now setting the coordinates on your screen, on the window. So if I do that now and I refresh, if I scroll down, it stays there, like it doesn't actually move. So it's locked on my screen. So I don't know, these are just different things you can do. You might have seen ribbons like top bars on websites that when you scroll, they stay there. They just set the position to fixed, and that's all they did. So those are different ways that you can arrange things, style things. You can create little sections for things. You guys have any questions over any of this? Okay. So so maybe next time we will maybe try to finish up your little web pages. You should have a page that's about you, right? So make sure if you copied mine to change all your information so it's about you for next time. Maybe choose a font, so show that you can set fonts, choose your colors, and maybe let's plan on having one other page that when you click on it, you can go to a second page. I thought it said hello, but oh well. And then we'll have another link that links you back so that you can get back to your home page. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Mr. Satella, I tried keeping up with you the best I could. I'm sorry, I had some errors. that.
Okay. Well, I'll post this video to YouTube so you could go through it slower if you need to.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we can look at your errors at the start of next class.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Well, you guys have a good day. Hopefully this makes sense. It shouldn't be too hard, but it's just a lot of details. Yeah, if you got no questions, you guys are free.